Hi, everyone. I have Alex Singleton on the line for you.
Thank you, Tyler, and hello, Alex. We'll start with Nick Kosmider of The Athletic. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Alex, thanks for your time. I'm just curious what it was like, kind of in a unique situation, but winning the West from home and just sort of what your reaction was to that.
Yeah, it's obviously really exciting. That's the first goal is to win your division. So it was nice. It was different. The times I've won it was usually, in a locker room celebrating with the guys, and I was at Zoo Lights with my family. So it was, it was definitely a little different, but just as exciting. It was cool just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, just like the group chats and the phone calls just coming through, and everyone, just how excited everybody is, and what it means to this team and this organization.
Zach Stevens, DNVR.
Alex, you mentioned that's the first goal with the sights now set on getting the number one seed. What's kind of the message and feeling in the building from Sean and the teammates today?
That's it. Like this weekend was exciting. Obviously, it's been exciting, but we have one goal. It's to win this weekend and beat the Chargers and be the one seed. And I think that is the message, and that's the energy in the building. It's one game, one opportunity. Let's go get this thing done.
Chris Thomason, The Gazette.
Yeah, hey Alex, thanks for doing this. Have you seen the T-shirts and hats for winning the division? Sean Payton said he hadn't seen them, but he thought they were kind of ugly.
I've seen them. I brought it home. It's fine. That it's nice to have. It'll go in a box for the rest of my life, but I'll probably see it again in about 50 years from now.
Eric DeLalla, DenverBroncos.com.
Hey, Alex. Sean was mentioning one of the things as you guys kind of go down the final stretch here that's important is improving the takeaway margin. And just curious from your perspective, kind of what you guys can do to boost those numbers defensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, being proactive about it. During the week of practice, continuing to work on it. It's stuff that we've been focusing on, but yeah, it's just, take that next step and, really hone in on that. I think we've been really good at everything else. And so it's, just taking that next step to where we want to go and to, be able to take the ball away.
Parker Gabriel, The Denver Post.
Hey, Alex, Sean mentioned this morning that he didn't even really bring up the division championship in the team meeting this morning. Obviously, you guys are focused on the bigger goal. What was sort of his message, and was it surprising at all to you that it sort of, the meeting came and went without even really talking much about the division?
No, I think with how we won it, there was no point of really, talking about it. I think if we would have won in Kansas City or, obviously Jacksonville or whatever, or if, the Chargers would have won this weekend and then it would have came up, after, this Sunday, it would have been something else. But I think with where our goals are at and how long, I would say we've been the one seed in the playoffs now for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And so, when you're in that spot, that's your ultimate goal. And so that's what we talked about today. When it's not like we have 3 games left. So we have 1 game left to go beat the Chargers and get the one seed. So I think, that's obviously what's most important right now. And there was a lot of congratulating before that, but, we had known, and like I said, there's a lot of phone calls on, Saturday. So, it's been 2 days since then. So guys know how important that is and how special it is to win a division, because it is really important. But also, we have a lot bigger goals and we have the opportunity to have those big goals. And so it was just kind of, he could have talked about it. We didn't. And I think it was the better way to do that, just to let guys know, like, our main goal and our one focus this week should be beating the Chargers and, being the number one seed for this playoff run.
We'll go last question, Kyle Fredrickson of The Gazette.
Hey, Alex, looking at the Chargers, I'm just curious if there's some lessons that can carry over from that week 3 loss, or if it's been such a long time that these teams have met that you sort of have to start fresh and examining what they do well and how you guys plan to defend them.
Yeah, I would say the big thing is we'll definitely start fresh. They have a lot of guys, that were playing then that are out, but also, Justin Herbert's one of the best players in the world, and we're gonna have to focus on that, especially defensively. And that's gonna be our challenge this week. And a lot of it is, it's a division game at the end of the day, so it's someone we've we've lost 2 this year, so that's our one division loss this year. So we want to make up for that and, finish 5-1 on the year in the division. So I think, that's the most important thing going into this game.
Alex, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year's.